Thank you very much, Lulu. At this juncture, I would like to commence our activity this morning. This is the grand launch of the MwAPATA Institute. We've been waiting for this moment, and we are glad that the moment is now here. And in the same vein, allow me to welcome our guest of honor present in the building. This is none other than the Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Lobin Lowe MP. He didn't come alone. He's been accompanied by his deputy, Madam Agnes Nkusankoma, MP. Welcome to this grand activity. Let me also recognize the presence of Dr. Candida Nankuma, who is the country director for the ATI, that's the Agricultural Transformation Initiative. And also available at the high table is Professor Richard Mkandawire, who is the MwAPATA Institute Advisory Board Chairperson. I'm also aware that we have got various dignitaries that are present in the building, from government officials, from government departments and agencies, the civil society, private sector, but we also have others that are connecting via Zoom and Facebook. We'd like to welcome you all to this great occasion. My name is Matthew Malata. I'll be with you from now up until the end of the activity. Once again, feel free and feel welcome to this great occasion as we are launching the Center of Excellence in Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Rural Development Policy Research organization, which is MwAPATA Institute. This is like an independent think tank which is going to provide the needed counsel or guidance that is going to spur the transformation of the agriculture sector. We all know agriculture is important. We all know agriculture is the mainstay of our economy, and that is why we are all here today to discuss ways and means of getting to where we need to be, where we're supposed to be. And to set the tone for this meeting is going to be Professor Richard Mkandawire, who is the MwAPATA Institute Advisory Board Chair. He has a presentation which is going to run in less than 10 minutes. May I take the opportunity to welcome you, Professor, to do your first presentation as we embark on this journey to launch this important organization for our country. Welcome.
Thank you, Director of Ceremonies. Allow me to join you in welcoming the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Honorable Lobin Lowe, and also the Honorable Deputy Minister, Honorable Agnes Nkusankoma. Let me also recognize in our presence the PS for Agriculture, Madam Erica Maganga, also the representative of the DG of the National Planning Commission. I'd like also to recognize the Country Director of ATI, Dr. Candida Nankuma, the Acting Executive Director of MwAPATA Institute, Mr. William Chanza, and I also want to recognize my good friend, the Vice Chancellor of Lowe, Professor Kanyama Piri. In our midst also, we have online in the USA, Professor Tom Jen, who is the principal investigator of this particular initiative, MwAPATA Institute. I would like to particularly commend him for waking up at 2 a.m. because it's 2 a.m. now, and he has actually accepted to join us at this very ungodly hour. We truly appreciate. Just a quick remark that Professor Tom Jen is actually one of the key architects of a number of policy institutes in Africa. Is particularly renowned for founding the IAPRI, this is the Indaba Agriculture Policy Institute in Zambia, a very credible policy institute. And again, we're emphasizing the founding of these institutes partly because I would like to make sure that we have our own homegrown policy institutes in Africa, and in as much as of course we tap on global knowledge from individuals like Professor Tom Jen, we as Africans, as Malawians, would like to own and drive these policy institutes. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the advisory board of the Policy Institute, would like to sincerely thank you for joining us in the launch of this historic initiative. The Institute, which we're about to launch, we see it as an important milestone in the history of this country. And we as MwAPATA would like to see this as the to-go-to Agriculture, Natural Resources and Rural Development Policy Research Institute in Malawi. And we hope that it will lay a strong foundation in supporting the various policy interventions that will be generated through some of the work of this institute. We are aware that there are other institutes in the country or policy think tanks, and it will work with those other policy think tanks. The specific objectives of this gathering, ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister, one is to introduce the MwAPATA Institutes and also to unveil the Institute's strategic plan and to launch the Institute website and showcase research at MwAPATA. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, allow me to give a brief background of MwAPATA Institute. MwAPATA Institute is a product of the partnership between Michigan State University entered into with the Agriculture Transformation Initiative, which in this country is led by Dr. Candida Nkrumah. MSU and ATI are also supporting the policy work of the Minister of Agriculture, and this policy work is actually housed in the Ministry of Agriculture to respond to the Ministry's periodic needs. MwAPATA Institute, Honorable Minister, let me report that it is now legally registered in Malawi with a fully functional governance structure. The Institute is affiliated to the National Planning Commission and also the Lilongwe University of Agriculture and Natural Resources. MwAPATA Institute, Honorable Minister, is an independent policy think tank that is engaging government and the private sector and civil society organizations, as well as a range of other stakeholders in program-applied research and policy analysis, as well as outreach, and also in building capacity of various young researchers, as well as middle career researchers. I'm delighted to inform you, Honorable Minister, that MwAPATA Institute has recently finalized its strategic plan that is focusing on institutional establishment and development and also policy research implementation support. The Institute will add value to national efforts in transforming the agriculture sector by accelerating the adoption of effective Malawian-led policies and programs that will be broad-based and also will address issues linked to agriculture sector growth, diversification, improvement of smallholder incomes, the development of alternative commodity value chains, and improve household food security and nutrition in Malawi. The launch of MwAPATA Institute today is a historic landmark that will be spearheading the building of local capacity to generate homegrown solutions while integrating that of global support from institutions such as Michigan University, as well as other institutions. What we're likely to have here, Honorable Minister, is a hybrid of knowledge that will give truly transformative and impactful research on the ground. All of us are aware that the landscape on partnerships across the globe has changed constantly, starting with a partnership for Africa's development. African leaders are increasingly beginning to see that even the international community, where it is shifting away from a position of flying in innovations, technology into Africa, it is aware in this regard that most of the efforts need to be locally led. There's that awareness. I think all of us are aware that days are gone when the likes of the Boston consulting groups, McKinsey, used to come into Africa and begin to literally impose on Africa ideas which have been generated by these institutions with limited understanding of the cultural context and understanding of the local culture of our own local environments. In many ways, a lot of the knowledge that has come from outside tends to be completely irrelevant, and very often, and which is really sad, we see sometimes our governments willy-nilly accepting these young researchers from these global institutions without really critically questioning the effectiveness of the information that they actually generate and very often impose on our institutions. Honorable Minister, maybe this speaks to the larger, I think, challenge we as a country face. With due respect to donors who might be here, it is a reality that very often donors seem to be leading the conversation. I think time is gone that we as Malawians should provide leadership in leading conversations, in prioritizing, and indeed very often we receive conflicting views or suggestions from some of these donors where there's no entry point in ensuring that these various recommendations that arise from donors are coordinated locally, they're digested, they're questions, they're interrogated, as my colleagues in South Africa would say. I think we need a critical mass of thinkers as well as local institutions that can actually stand in and provide a Malawian perspective. And I think this is the time we need to really assert ourselves as Malawians and begin to really provide that leadership. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, MwAPATA as an independent think tank will provide evidence-based solutions to the challenges facing the agriculture sector in Malawi. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, given Malawi's current stage of development and limited industrial prospects, the agriculture sector will remain the best and immediate option in furthering our economic transformation. As such, the importance of establishing this think tank cannot be underestimated. The MwAPATA Institute has already started conducting independent and objective empirical research in agriculture and natural resources and rural development. Some of this research work has already been undertaken and linked to priorities of government. These include the agriculture transformation in Malawi, research, the future of smallholder farmers in Malawi, work on the unlocking challenges for policy implementation in Malawi, and the impact of COVID-19 on Malawi's agri-food systems. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to inform you that MwAPATA is already in conversation with the National Planning Commission, and the Commission has already started aligning some of its research outcomes from MwAPATA to inform the new envisioning process for the country's Transformation 2063. The Institute looks forward to using the research outcomes for engaging better with the ministry and other ministries. Our appeal to the government of Malawi and our appeal to Malawians is that let's begin to utilize this as our own think tank. We look forward to generating all the necessary information with your collective and individual support. There are a number of thought leaders who are here, and it is our commitment to tap on your thinking and your wisdom. Let me also hasten to add, Honorable Minister, that in as much as this is actually a think tank, it's not an ivory tower that is out there to throw ideas and thinking without looking at the other thinkers that are on the ground. We believe truly, I think as a policy institute, that even communities have the capacity to undertake their own research. And part of our appeal, which we have actually constantly passed on to colleagues in MwAPATA, is that it is important that the generation of information, the undertaking of research is also seen as an important responsibility of local communities. We believe that even those local communities have the capacity to generate their own research. So we truly believe that it is time that also we began to democratize research and information by allowing our own communities to be part and parcel of analyzing, including collecting that information and using it to put pressure on those who are on the ground and responsible for implementation of our national programs to ensure that they're accountable. They need to generate that information to ensure that whether they are members of parliament or whether they are public servants on the ground, they are actually accountable, they are actually engaged based on locally collected information. So therefore, it is our hope that MwAPATA will also begin to reflect on how it can begin to provide additional capacity, even to local communities, civil society organizations, in undertaking their own research. I think that would be quite innovative for the MwAPATA Institute. In closing, Honorable Minister and Honorable Deputy Minister, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, would like to express our very deep appreciation that this particular institute has been very well received, and would like again to reiterate that in as much as it is Malawian, we will pick up the best of our own local brains within the country, but also we'll tap on the base of the global knowledge. So we truly appreciate that you have actually come here to formally endorse the existence of this policy institute, and we look forward to interacting with the ministry. We look forward to interacting with the various institutions as we birth this very important institution for our country. We'd like to thank you for accepting to grace us, Honorable Minister, and also Deputy Minister. We look forward to your guiding us as we go into the future of driving this particular institute. I thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Prof, for the wonderful remarks that you have made in this room as we launch the MwAPATA Institute. May we give him another round of applause, if you don't mind. Thank you very much indeed. Quite clear, quite interesting. I think you have really raised the bar, and it looks like the organization is being launched at the right time. So some of the key things captured from his speech, he talked about homegrown policies. Now is the time to lead. And again, also, he highlighted the need to ensure that there is evidence-based programming, knowledge dissemination, national resource management, rural development, but also respect for communities as they do their work, utilize local brains, but at the same time also tap on the global knowledge. So this is very, very interesting indeed. I know Prof. Jota is also passionate about respecting indigenous knowledge, and I'm glad that I couldn't notice his smile because of the masks, but I'm sure he's smiling. Next to address us this morning is Professor Thomas Jen, who is joining us online. I'm sure he's ready with his presentation. Like Prof said, he is the PI, the principal investigator for the Institute. May I hand over to you, Prof?
Yes,
and welcome to the conference.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Honorable Minister Lowe, honorable members of Parliament, the country director of ATI, Dr. Candida Nakumwa.
Checking if we have the Prof online.
Honorable Minister Lowe, honorable members of Parliament, the country director of ATI, Dr. Candida Nakumwa, the chair of the National Planning Commission, Prof. Richard Mkandawire, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. So 18 months ago, the Agricultural Transformation Initiative, together with Michigan State University, embarked on a journey to create a Malawian-led world-class agricultural policy research institute. The grant period was for 3 years. It's not an easy task to create such an institute from scratch, but with the great effort of many people, both from MSU, from ATI, and especially from the Malawians who have come together to form the MwAPATA Institute and its governance arms. I'm pleased to announce to all of you that we have succeeded in that task. Having attracted quality management and research staff and guided by a steering committee composed of prominent Malawians in the public sector, the private sector, and civil society, we are now in a position for the Institute to operate on its own, though Michigan State University will continue to provide capacity development support in the background for the next 15 to 18 months. The activities of MwAPATA and really its genesis owe quite a bit to a very active steering committee that was composed of members of the Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, the Ministry of Lands, the Ministry of Natural Resources, Energy and Development, the Farmers Union of Malawi, the CISANET, Civil Society Agricultural Network, the National Smallholder Farmers Association of Malawi, the donor community, the DCAF's chair, the Lilongwe University of Agricultural and Natural Resources, the Malawi Chamber of Commerce, the Malawi Investment and Trade, the National Planning Commission, and the ATI groups. So all of these groups come together to create the governance structure and to help provide the grounding for the Institute to get off the ground. MSU has now completed a sub-grant with MwAPATA Institute that will enable the Institute to run independently and autonomously on its own. So, ladies and gentlemen, the tree has been planted, the roots are strong and are growing nicely, but as with any nascent living organism, this wonderful tree needs continued nurturing and support. There are three challenges that I would like to draw people's attention to. The first one is the institutional charter. MwAPATA is a private company limited by guarantee. Ultimately, MwAPATA's legitimacy will be determined by how it is accepted and woven into the institutional fabric of Malawi, grounded through its affiliations. I'm pleased to say that the MwAPATA Institute has two very stellar affiliations in the National Planning Commission and at Lowe, and we're very thankful for the guidance and the strong support from National Planning Commission and Lowe in particular. So, institutional charter is its first challenge. The second challenge has to do with the need for continued institution building and capacity development support. For all world-class institutes, capacity development is a continuous and a permanent process. And the third challenge for MwAPATA is diversified funding. At the moment, the Agricultural Transformation Initiative is funding the Institute 100% from ATI, and we appreciate the great support that ATI is providing. Ultimately, there will need to be a diversified funding for the activities of the Institute, and as it develops, I hope that MwAPATA will succeed in generating support from a diverse set of development actors, including the Malawian government. So these three challenges can certainly be simply addressed. I'm very confident that they will be successfully addressed with the kind of support that MwAPATA has already received so far. So now, before I sign off here, let me acknowledge the support of many people who have provided wonderful guidance these last 18 months that has resulted in the creation of MwAPATA. First, let me acknowledge Professor Richard Mpandawiri, who's been provided stellar guidance and true partnership throughout this entire process. Really appreciate his support. We'd also like to thank the National Planning Commission, led by the DG Thomas Muntale. We'd like to thank Lowe, and in particular Prof. Louis Zimbiri, who's played an instrumental role in helping MwAPATA be set up. Also colleagues at CARD. There will need to be very strong affiliation and collaboration between MwAPATA and CARD as they move hopefully together. I'd like to also acknowledge Mr. Prince Kaponda Mgaga from the formerly at the Farmers Union of Malawi, when he provided great assistance and guidance from his standpoint at the steering committee. Mr. Chancellor Kafira Panjira, again formerly at MCCCI, I think maybe he still is affiliated there. Dr. Pamela Akwale, CSANET, Dr. Ridwell Musapole, who's provided great assistance from his acting position as the DAPS coordinator in the Ministry of Agriculture, and all other members of the steering committee instrumental in providing this support to MwAPATA. I'd like to also acknowledge Dr. Candida Nakumwa and Mpatso Dakamau and Jim Lutzweiler, and Chris Gray,
Cultural Transformation
from the Agricultural Transformation Initiative.
And last but not least, at Michigan
And last
State
but not
University,
least,
please
at
let me
Michigan State
acknowledge the
University,
support
please let me acknowledge the
Dr.
support
Titus
from Dr. Titus Aukushe,
and then
Department
especially
Chair,
from Milu
and
Moyanga,
then especially
and
from
Bill
Milu
Burke, who
Moyanga,
have assisted
and Bill Burke, who have
me
assisted
in helping to set up this
me
institute
in
from
helping to
MSU's,
set up this institute from the MSU.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me stop there.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me stop there.
Once again, it's an honor, and
once again, it's an honor, and I'm very pleased to be a part of this launch of MwAPATA. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Prof. Tom Jane, for the wonderful remarks. Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister, allow me to proceed to the next item on the program, and I would like to take the pleasure of inviting Dr. Candida Nankuma, who is the Country Director for the Agricultural Transformation Initiative. Why don't you give her a round of applause as she walks in front?
The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Honorable Lobin Lowe MP, the Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Agnes Nkusankoma, the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Mrs. Erica Maganga. All protocols are observed. In the interest of time, please forgive me for not mentioning you. I acknowledge your presence this morning. I feel greatly honored and delighted to be here this morning to witness the official launch of the MwAPATA Institute. MwAPATA Institute is one of the initiatives that the Agricultural Transformation Initiative is supporting in Malawi through the policy program that Michigan State University is implementing in collaboration with the National Planning Commission, the Lilongwe University of Agriculture and Natural Resources, and the government of Malawi in a quest to contribute towards agricultural transformation. Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, we are all aware that agriculture is the backbone of the Malawian economy, contributing around 30% of the gross domestic product, 90% of export revenue, with tobacco contributing 60% of all export earnings. Yet we also know that tobacco continues to experience declining demand on the global market due to anti-smoking campaigns. The reduction of demand for tobacco will greatly affect the livelihoods of many smallholder tobacco farmers in Malawi, and indeed the entire economy. Therefore, as a country, there is an urgent need for us to prioritize diversification of our food and export. However, this is an enormous task that cannot be accomplished with the required speed by government acting alone. As such, the Agricultural Transformation Initiative presents itself as one of the partners that is contributing towards this goal. To that effect, the Agricultural Transformation Initiative is, among other things, supporting the identification of alternative value chains and economic opportunities, enhancing productivity and production through investments in science, technology, and innovation, facilitating commercialization through innovative financing solutions, focusing on the creation and application of new markets, supporting sustainable business models to improve economic opportunities, and also supporting targeted agricultural policy reforms. Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, we are also aware that Malawi continues to suffer from poor policy decisions, policy inconsistencies, and lack of implementation of some of the good policies that we already have. As a result, most Malawian farmers remain poor, and the economy in general continues to lag its regional peers. I am glad that MwAPATA has been established to contribute to dealing with some of these policy-related challenges. The establishment of MwAPATA is a major milestone in the history of agricultural development in Malawi, because for the first time, we have a homegrown independent policy research institute which can support government, donor community, private sector, civil society, and farmer organizations in generating evidence which can support credible decision-making, policy formulation, and indeed policy implementation processes in Malawi. Unless we take the responsibility over our own policy decisions, our own policy choices, we risk missing out on the power of what a vibrant agriculture and agri-food system can do to drive rapid economic transformation. With the establishment of MwAPATA, Malawi will be able to generate its own policy-relevant research to feed into homegrown agricultural policies instead of solely relying on international research institutes to support our national processes. Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, the establishment of MwAPATA would not have been possible without the financial support from the Foundation for a Smoke-Free World. I would also like to acknowledge the indispensable support from several individuals and institutions that have helped in one way or the other in the establishment of MwAPATA Institute. Special thanks go to the Michigan State University, especially Prof. Tom Jane for his wholehearted support to MwAPATA. And my sincere gratitude also goes to the steering committee that we had at the very beginning of this process, the MwAPATA Advisory Board for providing strategic guidance to MwAPATA, the government of Malawi through the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, the National Planning Commission for hosting MwAPATA during its formative stages. As much as we are financing MwAPATA, the initial months, they had to be housed somewhere, and we are grateful to the National Planning Commission for hosting the institute. I'm also indebted to the Lilongwe University of Agriculture and Natural Resources for affiliating with MwAPATA, and to all development partners that have already embraced MwAPATA as a research partner in the country. Let me close by reaffirming our commitment to support the MwAPATA Institute and to also appeal to fellow development partners to join hands with us in supporting MwAPATA Institute as a local policy think tank for it to effectively undertake research that can support policy development and implementation. I think, Honorable Minister, this is one of the remarks that Prof. Jane made, making an appeal that one of the challenges that we can already foresee is funding, and beyond what ATI is providing, would like to appeal to fellow development partners that can come along with us in supporting such a wonderful institute. Lastly, I would like to appeal to government of Malawi, to private sector, farmer organizations, development partners, civil society, to consider MwAPATA Institute as an important partner in economic development. Some of the recommendations or research results may not always be pleasing to government or private sector, and that should be expected. But I can assure you that nothing will be done in bad faith. The research that will be undertaken is solely meant to inform good policy-making decisions that Malawi will do. We hope that as stakeholders, we will indeed find the research products that MwAPATA Institute is producing useful to the development and implementation of good policies. With these few remarks, I would like to thank you, Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention. Thank you.
Right. Many thanks indeed, Dr. Candida Nankumwa, for the remarks. She is indeed among women of substance in our country that have done a lot in terms of helping improve our agriculture, and she deserves another round of applause. So let me hand over to Lulu, 3 minutes. There's a theme song that has been done for the event, so he has got 3 minutes to perform that song for us. Over to you, Lulu.
ofufuza nkupeza umboni kuti mapolisi akhale okomera tonse tikhale ozidalira. Ofufuza nkupeza umboni kuti mapolisi akhale okomera tonse tikhale ozidalira. Umphawi madera kumudzi, njala kunyenjera kumene, kusapeleka mwayi ofanana ku anthu, miyoyo nayo ikwezedwe. Kusowa kwa malo olima, achinyamata kusowa ntchito, kusintha kwa nyengo, kani MwAPATA yaonekera, akatswiri ali kumeneko. MwAPATA oh MwAPATA, oh MwAPATA, ofufuza thandiza boma kuti mapolisi akomere tonse. Ofufuza kuthandiza boma kuti mapolisi akomere tonse. MwAPATA iwo wandiya MwAPATA, iwo wandiya MwAPATA, iwo wandiya, iwo wandiya, iwo wandiya MwAPATA, iwo wandiya MwAPATA, iwo wandiya.
Many thanks indeed, Lulu. A big round of applause for Lulu. Quite loud and clear, entertaining and refreshing. We'd like to proceed with our program. And now allow me to invite William Chadza, who is the Acting Executive Director of MwAPATA Institute. Like I said, he's going to unveil the MwAPATA strategic plan. Over to you, William. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Director of Ceremonies. All protocols observed. So I'll just give some quick highlights of the strategic plan, building on the conversations which have been going on since this morning. So to join earlier speakers, MwAPATA Institute is a center of excellence in agriculture, natural resources, and rural development policy research, which provides constructive policy guidance and implementation support for agriculture transformation in Malawi. So the preamble is very important. We try to give the picture in totality that apart from agriculture, we're also looking at natural resources and rural development, all of which impact on agricultural transformation. So that also speaks to our vision and mission. Our vision is to be a world-class, credible, and respected local agricultural policy research think tank in Malawi. That's basically meant that we should be able to stand out amongst various agricultural policy research think tanks globally. So also our mission is to conduct independent, objective, and high quality research that provides practical recommendations to inform and improve agricultural food systems and rural development policies in Malawi. So basically that's our vision and also our mission. We all look forward to adhering to our core values, which we'd like to share with you. So we call that PRIME, which is very easy for all of us to move out of this room with that. Pride, basically professionalism, including integrity, relevance. We want to be relevant as an institute. Independence is also very important because that also touches on objectivity, mutual respect, and also excellence. So those are basically our core values. And our motto is evidence matters for transformational impact. Now, moving forward to our objectives, we have 4 objectives, and they are touching on policy research, which is at the core, data quality improvement, capacity building, and also policy coordination. So for policy research, our objective is to generate cutting-edge empirical research to inform policy debates and also policy-making processes, basically in agriculture, natural resources, and also rural development. Data is also quite important in terms of decision-making. So we have an objective around that, providing technical support to public data agencies to improve agricultural data quality and ensure effective tracking of agricultural transformation indicators. And then capacity building, I think that has been alluded to at length by previous speakers, but our objective revolves around improve local experts and policymakers' capacity to conduct policy analysis and also use of evidence to make better informed decisions in the agricultural sector. And then as well, more importantly, also is the issue around coordination and also working with others. We know that we are not alone, so we have an objective around policy coordination, build a coalition of the most important public and private stakeholders in the agricultural sector to generate consensus on various actions as need might be. So those are basically our 4 objectives. So for us to achieve those objectives, we undertake a number of things. I think earlier speakers have alluded to most of these. Research, policy-oriented research, dissemination of research findings. We found that's very critical so that we don't just do research, but we're able to utilize the outcomes of that research. So dissemination is going to be quite critical in terms of our undertakings. Coalition building for policy implementation support, policy analysis, capacity building, and also public education, which basically complements the activities around dissemination of research findings to ensure that we're able to use our research accordingly. Now, we have 2 pillars in terms of the strategic plan. The first one is institutional establishment and development. As you all heard in the area remarks that we basically a new institution, so we want to make sure that we are constructing an appropriate foundation for the institution. So that's why we have quite a number of themes related to institutional establishment and development, related to establishing the institute itself, and we have made already progress in terms of that. I think you heard about the legality in terms of the institution being registered, setting up governance structures, and a few other processes around that. So the other theme is managing growth of the institute. We believe that we are poised for growth, and that has basically to be managed accordingly. Sustainability is also another theme which we are already considering in the early stages of our journey as an institution. Visibility is also quite key, and again, partnerships, as this was already evidenced by the various partners who we are affiliated with, who made some remarks earlier on. So we look forward to building much more around that particular theme in due course. The second pillar is policy research and implementation support. So for that, we have a number of themes which we look forward to implementing various activities under those 3 themes which are outlined there. Research is at the core of the institution, so conducting research and also engaging in data quality improvement so that we are able to speak to those objectives which I had highlighted earlier on. Support policy and regulatory reforms. We believe that if the agricultural sector is going to be transformed, definitely reforms are one of the important aspects of that. And then we have got the 3rd theme, which revolves around policy coordination and outreach. So those are our 2 strategic pillars with the associated themes which we have. Now, in terms of institutional and implementation arrangements for the institute, as I said, that under the first theme or pillar, we have a governance structure. So we have 5 guarantors who are like a board of directors, and some of them are also in the midst of us here. So basically, the role of the directors is to provide strategic guidance, oversight, and also direction in the management of the affairs of the institute. So there are 5 of them. And then we also have an advisory board, which has got 9 members and 3 ex-officials. Basically, their role is to provide technical guidance and also expert inputs into the institute's research and reform activities. So the secretariat then comes in, which manages the daily affairs of the institute, and then it looks up to the advisory board and the guarantors in terms of guidance as appropriate. Monitoring and evaluation is also quite important. So that has been provided for also in the strategic plan because it's important that we are monitoring how we are progressing as we move along the journey in terms of implementation of the plan. So the advisory board has got a role in terms of monitoring implementation of the strategic plan on a quarterly basis. So those are the intervals which have been defined for them to assess and see how we are implementing the different activities which are outlined in the plan. Well, then the secretariat is responsible for implementation in terms of the daily activities and tasks which speak to the different objectives, and then eventually that speaks to the themes and the pillars. So we look forward to a mid-term review as we move forward with the implementation, and then at the end of the plan, we are going to do an evaluation to see how we can move forward with that, and also see what lessons we have taken up, and also how far we have done in terms of implementation. So again, just to acknowledge our partners, I think National Planning Commission, Lilongwe University of Agriculture and Natural Resources, and also the Michigan State University, not forgetting the Agricultural Transformation Initiative. So in brief, that's what I thought I would share with you in terms of the highlights of what is contained in the detailed strategic plan, which we should be able to share with you in due course. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much indeed, William. Another round of applause for William Chadza, who is the Acting Executive Director for the MwAPATA Institute. Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister present here, without much ado, I would like to invite the Secretary for Agriculture, Erica Maganga, to give us her speech, and then she'll proceed to invite the Honorable Minister to address us. Thank you.
The guest of honor, the Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Lobin Lowe, MP, the Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Agnes Nkonsa-Nkoma, MP, all protocol observed. First, let me join the previous speakers in welcoming you all to the launch of MwAPATA Institute. Before I invite the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Lobin Lowe, to make a speech and officially launch MwAPATA Institute, allow me to make a few remarks in relation to the importance of what we are witnessing today. Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, we all know that the agriculture sector is the backbone of Malawi's economy. The sector contributes about a third of GDP and over 65% of employment and 63% of export earnings. When the sector's linkages with input supply, trade, and transport services considered, the broader agricultural sector contributes 44% of GDP and generates 74% of employment. Nevertheless, Honorable Minister and ladies and gentlemen, the sector continues to face several challenges. These include low productivity, dependence of rain-fed agriculture production, with only one growing season, and low use of irrigation. In addition to these known challenges, the country must prepare to deal with emerging challenges whose consequences are not very well known. These include mounting population density that is leading to shrinking farm sizes, with over 70% of the population of farmers operating farms less than 1 hectare. About 30% of the farmers are already virtually landless and struggling to sustain a family on less than half a hectare of land. The soils are degraded as a result of continuous cultivation without fallowing. Research is emerging showing that soils are degraded in most of the densely populated parts of the country, to a point that crops' response to inorganic fertilizers is impaired by the low soil organic content. It is evident that the sizable proportion of farmers that are trapped in the areas where sustainable intensification may not be feasible with the existing on-shelf agricultural production technologies, the situation is worsened by the increasing weather variability associated with climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, the country is experiencing a rapid rise in a number of young people. About 2/3 of Malawi's population is under 24 years of age. 45% is under 15 years. Absorbing this group into employment is a major challenge at present because of slow economic growth. The non-agricultural wage jobs are unlikely to provide employment for a large share of these youths. This means a great majority of the youths will depend on farming and agricultural-related informal sector jobs for their livelihoods. Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, it is instructive to understand that these challenges are neither irreversible nor inevitable. The outcome of the extent to which the country will be impacted by these trends will depend on our today's policy actions, either those taken proactively or those taken passively as a result of doing nothing. Consequently, it is important for policy think tanks to continue generating new knowledge, to inform and support policy-making processes, to tackle known and entrenched barriers to policy change, anticipating new challenges and alerting policymakers to respond to them proactively rather than reactively. As already mentioned by MwAPATA Institute Executive Director, the Institute is dedicated to not only undertaking cutting-edge empirical research, but also pushing beyond research to support policy implementation in the agriculture, natural resources, and rural development. That said, Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming MwAPATA in this very important space. We regard MwAPATA as a very important partner in the journey towards agricultural transformation with wealth creation for all Malawians. Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, let me mention that to respond to these challenges that I've raised, Government of Malawi through the Ministry of Agriculture developed the National Agriculture Policy, the NAP, in 2016 to provide strategic guidance for the development of the agriculture sector in the country. It is important to mention that this policy was developed with technical support from the Michigan State University NAPAS project. To operationalize the NAP, the ministry, in close collaboration with the various stakeholders, developed the National Agricultural Investment Plan to guide investments in the agriculture sector by both the public and private sector. Let me also mention that Michigan State University, through funding from Agriculture Transformation Initiative, is supporting the Ministry of Agriculture through the Policy Support for Transformation POSAT project. This post-NAPAS project is supporting the creation of an enabling policy and regulatory environment for improved investment climate in the agriculture sector in the country. It is my hope that MwAPATA will forge close working relationship with POSAT project and the Department of Agriculture Planning Services in the ministry, aimed at providing technical support to the ministry and strengthening the capacity of officers in the Department of Agriculture Planning to analyze, interpret, and use evidence for better informed decision in the agriculture sector. Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, let me join in thanking the Michigan State University for being a worthy, dependable partner in the development of agriculture sector in Malawi. Join me also in thanking the Agriculture Transformation Institute for their generous financial support to MSU projects and to a number of other ongoing interventions in the agriculture sector in the country. With these remarks, Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to humbly invite the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Lobin Lowe MP, to deliver his official speech to the launch and to launch the MwAPATA Institute. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
We are privileged this morning to have amongst us the Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Agnes Nkusankoma MP, Mrs. Erika Maganga, PS Agriculture, Professor Richard Mkandawire, MwAPATA Institute Advisory Board Chairperson, Dr. Candida Nankumwa, Country Director, Agriculture Transformation Initiative, Professor Kanyamapiri, Vice Chancellor, Lilongwe University of Agriculture and Natural Resources, Dr. Thomas Montari, Director General, National Planning Commission, William Chadza, Acting Executive Director, MwAPATA, all senior government officials, distinguished guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure for me to be with you this morning on the occasion, on the official launch of MwAPATA Institute. Today, we are witnessing a launch of another important strategic partner of the sector, joining other existing players in complementing government efforts in transforming agricultural sector in the country. I would like to thank you all for responding to the invitation to attend this very important function. Ladies and gentlemen, it is pleasing to note that the institute comes in as a local-led independent center of excellence in agriculture, natural resources, and rural development policy research that aims to provide policy guidance and evidence-based decision and programming for agricultural transformation in the country. MwAPATA Institute fits perfectly well in the scheme of things, especially now when the country joined the rest of the continent in the reaffirming its commitment to the Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program under the 2014 Malabo Declaration Pact. The first commitment of the Malabo Declaration calls for application of principles of evidence-based planning, policy efficiency, dialogue, review, and accountability. Therefore, I'm glad that apart from our academic institutions, such as Rwanda, Chancellor College, and others like IFPRI, the National Planning Commission, which have always worked hand in hand with the government and my ministry in particular, today we are welcoming another equally important private agricultural sector in the area of policy research and development. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my hope that MwAPATA will complement and add value to the existing policy and research bodies in order to foster the much needed broad-based agricultural transformation for wealth creation. I'm informed that the Institute has already produced a number of impactful researches on topical agricultural policy issues. These include the future of smallholder farming in Malawi and the farm-level analysis of the impact of COVID-19 on agri-food systems in Malawi, amongst others. I'm also informed the Institute, in collaboration with the National Planning Commission, has produced a number of thought pieces that are serving as background papers in the framing of the National Transformation 2063. This is quite encouraging, and I would like to commend you for this collaboration. Ladies and gentlemen, all these efforts are aimed at making a contribution towards transformation of the agricultural sector in the country for creation of wealth for all Malawians. That said, the Institute's efforts towards this end are truly acknowledged by my ministry in particular and the government of Malawi in general. I wish to thank Michigan University for the technical support in establishing MwAPATA Institute. I would also want personally to thank the university for supporting the implementation of policy support for agricultural transformation project known by the acronym POISAT. The POISAT project is embedded in the Department of Agriculture Planning Service in my ministry. The project is supporting in the creation of enabling policy and regulatory environment for improved investment climate in the agriculture sector in the country. The government of Malawi recognizes the University of Michigan long history service in Africa, Malawi included. I would also like to thank the National Planning Commission for supporting the creation of MwAPATA and accepting the Institute as one of the Commission's partners. I am also thankful to Lilongwe University of Agriculture and Natural Resources for partnering with MwAPATA Institute. If you're given chance to come up with some talking points, one could be, in Malawi, they are already strategic partners in the sector, and MwAPATA is joining those partners just to implement government's efforts in the transformation of agriculture sector. This institution is the locally led independent Center for Excellence in Agricultural Research. It is homegrown policy institute. And from what I've learned here, it will use home-generated information that will be relevant compared to foreign information that has been imposed to us for a long time. It is an independent think tank. And according to my assessment, we will use the research findings to benefit the country and my ministry in specific. According to the presentation by the professor who was here virtually, he's talking of planting a tree. We are launching MwAPATA as if we are planting a tree. And I'm sure this tree needs to survive, and for survival of a tree, it needs proper management. At the end of the day, this tree is supposed to bear fruits. Those fruits should benefit all of us, and we should own this tree. Professor MwAPATA is my witness. For a long time, Luana has managed to train entrepreneurs locally, even others from abroad. Last time we were discussing about entrepreneurs from Zambia, trained at Bunda. Those entrepreneurs, after going back to Zambia, have managed to use our knowledge. They are now producing fish. At the end of the day, they are exporting the fish to Malawi, a country which has 1/3 water borders. Very unfortunate. At the same time, Professor MwAPATA has managed to train these entrepreneurs. These entrepreneurs are getting soya from our country. After value addition, they are making feed. They call it floating feed for fish. Malawi is not able to produce floating feed. So Malawi is importing same soya after going to Zambia as a floating feed. Those were trained in Malawi. MwAPATA, you will face the challenge. If you follow the argument by the PS all along, the country has been focusing on the production. So what? We have produced, so what? And that production through rain-fed agriculture. So it's a high time we thought of value addition and irrigation. At the end of the day, it will be the farmers making money, which is wealth creation and food security. Tonse Alliance is ready for transformation. I'm saying this statement to respond to Dr. Candida Nankumwa saying most of the research findings are not palatable with government position. This is true. kwamina nadola kwa chithupsa mukama chikhedula sichikutha chimakatuluka nsopena ndio mapeza kuti ukudwala nthawi yayitali sukugona usiku kungolimba mtima kuti muching'ambe muchotse pamakhala kamutu ndio kuti mwathana nacho chithupsa nde as Trans Alliance we are ready pazimene mune zoti zitipwetekaso zitipweteke ndithu tentisinthe takhala tikuvutika nthawi yayitali tentisinthe. We are going through so many reforms, and one of them is access to market. After production, so what? Our farmers had been exposed to exploitation by unscrupulous traders. After production, there were so many people who could get the commodity to the market. Meaning that if that continues, mulimi watu tiwale sadzatukukanso. And we have introduced AIP, Affordable Impulse Program, as one way of promoting food security. We have bumper yield. For the first time in the country, we are procuring 428 metric tons of fertilizer, unprecedented, because previously the country imported around 200,000. And at that time, the country had rows of maize, meaning this time we'll have rows and rows and rows. The country will be flooded with maize. And if you are not careful, there will be a lot of exploitation. So what we are doing is to revamp ADMAC. ADMAC should be empowered, and is now to do that. Yeah, ADMAC used to be a tiger. The tiger is now back. Farmers will have ready market. That way, this country will indeed transform. I thank you so much. Allow me to officially launch MwAPATA. We are planting a tree today.
Okay, so that's the wonderful moment for the picture. A big round of applause. Thank you very much indeed, Honorable Minister. MwAPATA is officially launched, and then the strategic plan is also officially launched. Copies will be given to all the partners. They will be accessed at some point later in the day. You may take your seat, Honorable Minister. Thank you very much indeed. It's really exciting to see that now as a country we have got a local think tank which is really going to play a very crucial role in advancing the agricultural transformation that we need. And it is the same eminent people, the faces that are in this building, that have done a lot of a contribution in coming up with a number of regional policies, continental policies, and Professor Richard Mkandawire is one of them. And it's good to see these people investing their time and knowledge in their country. That's what we need, and I have hope that as Malawi, we are going towards the right direction indeed. Thanks indeed to all that participated today in this program. All the speakers, we say thank you very much. Those that have been following this event via Zoom, Facebook, we really appreciate for joining. We do not take it for granted. Many thanks indeed to ATI through the country director, Dr. Candida Nankuma. We don't take it for granted for staying through. Above all, we'd like also to convey thanks to the ministry and the minister for showing up again to this event. It's been colorful and beautiful because of collective effort. And at this moment, allow me to say happy belated birthday to MwAPATA Institute. We wish you all the best. We hope this is the beginning of more conversations to come.